we're going to talk about the most well-recorded, documented UFO fatality of all time. And this was Frederick Valentik. He was an Australian pilot, and this incident happened in 1978, and every bit of it was caught on audio recording between him and tower control. Many people use this audio clip as definitive proof that there are UFOs among us, and I'm going to put the link down in the comments so you guys can just listen to it for yourself, okay? The Belief Hole Brothers, this is a podcast that I love. It's on YouTube, it's on the podcast channel. They did an episode about this, and this absolutely just gave me chills hearing this audio recording between Robert, the Australian pilot, and tower control. Now, this started off like a normal day for Robert. He's talking to tower control, asking them, hey, is there any military aircrafts in this area? And they were saying no. He says, I see it below 5,000 feet, which is a no-go. It's not where you're supposed to be. And then seconds later, it's now 1,000 feet above him. So it traveled thousands of feet in elevation in just moments. Now, tower control can see Robert on the radar. They cannot see this aircraft that he's describing on the radar. He talks about how it went way behind him, it disappeared from view, and then all of a sudden it's right in front of him. He talks about it's playing games with me, it's doing circles around me. He describes the color, but he says it's very hard to describe what I'm actually seeing. And this is where a lot of people think that maybe he didn't see what we think of as a UFO, but maybe he saw something that is known as a sky monster, a sky whale, or a sky jelly. They get different names. So if you want to go down that rabbit hole, it's pretty wild. But essentially he describes it as having these green lights that are almost like landing lights coming off of it. And he just keeps asking tower control, what is it? And tower control's going back and forth, asking him to describe. And they said, what are you going to do? And he said, this thing's got me spooked. Something's going wrong with my engine. My engine is actually starting to cough a little bit. I'm going to land on Kings Island. So they knew exactly where Robert was. He then talks, and I'm getting chills talking about this. It freaks me out here in the dark. He talks about how it comes up on him really rapidly, and he said it's hovering directly over me. And he goes, actually, it's not a spacecraft. As he said, it's not an aircraft. As he says that, a metal grinding noise can be heard for the next 17 seconds. And then no one ever hears from Robert ever again. To this day, no one has ever found his body. No one has ever found his aircraft. He just disappears off the face of the earth. And they knew exactly where he was when he disappeared. Immediately, search rescues go out for him, and they can't find nothing. They don't ever find any evidence of a crash anywhere ever. So you have somebody that at their dying breath talking about an alien following them, a UFO, an undescribed aircraft, if you will. Air tower control doesn't see it on radar, and then he actually makes a statement, oh wait, it's not an aircraft. That's where people get into that sky jelly, sky monster theory. And then he disappears off the face of the planet. Guys, I'm going to leak the audio clip for you in the comments. I'm going to tell you where to fast forward to, because the Belief Hole Brothers, they talk for about 10 minutes before they get to this audio clip. They're talking about different things and different theories. This audio clip will forever change the way you view UFOs. And I guess the definitive proof of this is like the only other alternative to it not being an alien is like our own government having stuff that we don't know about, and he saw it, he wasn't supposed to see it, so they had to take him out. Like, that's literally the only alternative. So either way, it's a crazy ending for Robert. Multiple NASA scientists that work on the deep space program and the jet propulsion program have gone missing or died in mysterious ways in the last few years. The first one on this list is retired General Bill McCaslin. He was reported missing by his wife just in February of 2026. Despite FBI and huge search parties, no one has been able to locate Bill McCaslin. This guy worked on a bunch of deep space programs that you might be familiar with. He was 68 years old. He went missing in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where his home was. His cell phone was still found at his house. And if you know anything about that area, they are super high traffic UFO sighting areas. To this day, there has been no clues of where he could have gone. Also, if you know about that area, it's not very heavily wooded. It's really not a lot of places you can go missing. They've done aerial searches, drone searches. Nothing has turned anything up. Some of his articles of clothing were found, supposedly, like a light jacket. But that's it. It's the only clues we have. Now, retired General Bill McCaslin, he was actually working on the non-human intelligence program. Yeah, you heard me right. NASA has a non-human intelligence program, and he was actually in charge of that. So for them to have a program like that, don't they have to find some non-human intelligence stuff to have a whole program that funnels millions and millions and millions of dollars through? Like, to me, the fact that exists kind of tells me all the answers I need to know on that one. The next scientist to pass away in mysterious circumstances just a couple years ago was Mike Hicks. Okay, once again, he's on the Jet Propulsion System programs. He was only in his 50s when he supposedly died of a heart attack. No autopsy was ever done to confirm this, at least one that's on record. And that's pretty much it. It was all swept under the rug. Really nothing else, no more details released on this. This comes right after he decided to leave the program. He left the program in 2022 and then passed away in 2023. So, weird, yeah. Next is Carl Grimmer. Carl Grimmer is somebody who passed away by being murdered in a domestic violence situation. Of course, there's tons of internet rumors that this was all staged and framed to make it look like he was killed in a domestic violence situation, when actually it was just the powers that be that needed him gone because he knew too much or saw too much. Another short, quick one is Frank Mylwad. It's Maiwald, Frank Mylwad. Anyhow, he's passed away. You can see his obituary online, but there's literally no details about it. There's like nothing given, like zero at all. Alberto Bahar. He died in a plane crash. Now, this is a guy who is in charge of creating literally the engines and propulsion systems to get us into space, and specifically deep space. Like, how do we get these satellites and orbiters to go really far into outer space and return information back to us? He had a personal plane, and it had an engine malfunction from improper maintenance, and it crashed. So you're telling me the dude that's in charge... I'm hoping that was some kind of big bird that just flew right over the top of me, but it looked really weird. So you're telling me the guy that's in charge of the programs that create the best engines on Earth had a engine malfunction from improper maintenance on his own little small plane? Like, that should be a cakewalk. Anyhow, he crashed like right in the middle of a town, like on a busy street. And he was the only person in the small plane, and he passed away. To me, I feel like somebody tampered with his stuff. George Abbey is on this list. And if that name sounds familiar, he's kind of famous in the NASA and astronaut world, the whole space community. Now, he was 91 years old. So I know what you're going to say. That doesn't sound odd for a 91-year-old man to pass away. Except he was going to give a statement about these bizarre deaths, and he died like a week before his interview. 91. You know, I get it. But weird timing. But that's probably just a coincidence, right? Because after he passed away, Edward Stone was going to be the next guy to do an interview. He was 88. This was just a month later. He was in charge of the deep space program a long time ago. He was going to make some statements about like weird stuff in outer space. And then he passed away a month later. Once again, 91 and 88. But they were both just a week away from making a big statement. George Abbey passes away a month later. Edward Stone's going to do a statement. He passes away right before he can do that. Strange, huh? Weird. Now, here's going down on the deeper end of this rabbit hole. Monica Reza. Monica Reza, we actually don't know if she's a real person or not. Her name appears on multiple NASA documents, multiple statements. Her name comes up in multiple interviews. Yet you can't find any proof this person exists. Like, besides the fact that she's on those statements, you can't find an obituary. You can't find any, like, records of her existing or working there. She's not on the NASA staff payroll. So who is Monica Reza that they all seem to know and mention and talk about? And, you know, she's a part of these different programs, but yet she doesn't exist. A lot of people have theorized that they have completely scrubbed her off of the internet and pretty much don't want anybody to know that she ever existed. Like, and if you think that's not possible, look up the story from the 1960s where there was a lady who was a secretary at a nuclear power plant. She was just a secretary. But because of all her meticulous note-taking, she found out that there was a lot of nuclear material missing. So she actually went and told the government about this. Now, we know this is a fact. This is not a conspiracy story. It was a conspiracy for like 20 years. And then the government finally came out and was like, yeah, this is what happened, okay? After she went to the government and told them, like, hey, there is nuclear material missing. And they're like, are you sure? And then she got shot in the parking lot, like right then and there. And then guess who was right? The random secretary. And they tried to hush it for a long time, but so many people knew about it and so many people made a big stink about it that eventually, like 20 years later, after pretty much all those people were passed away or not in power anymore, then the government came forward and was like, yeah, we did that. Sorry. It wasn't our decision to shoot her in the parking lot. Just somebody got nervous and did it. What? If you like this creepy rabbit hole stuff and like all these conspiracy things, I don't know why you're not on our podcast yet. It's available on Spotify and Apple. It's called Matt from Nomads. We would appreciate to see you there. Y'all called me crazy when I was covering this story a week and a half ago about there was 9 missing scientists that have died in mysterious ways or vanished that all had to do with the jet propulsion program, like the deep space program with NASA, which would be the program that would know about UFOs and aliens. You guys called me crazy when I covered that a week and a half ago, right? 9 of them had disappeared and vanished without a trace. And everybody's like, man, you're tripping. Well, now today, Fox News, CBS, like all the major news networks, they're covering it, and that number is up to 11 now. And the White House is officially launching an investigation into the matter because the last one who disappeared was this woman right here. That, this is the last updated one. This isn't the last one on the list, but this is the last updated one, which we're finding more info about. She said to her dad on a recorded phone call, I'm worried for my life. And then a week later, vanishes. Okay, now we know that she's dead. All right. One of the things she was talking about in that recorded phone call was that in 2027, we will know about aliens and UFOs. So I don't know what side of the fence you're wanting to sit on, whether you believe this is a big conspiracy or whatever, but now it's no longer conspiracy. Now it's a investigated thing that's happening. Like it's not just a talked about things in like the hushed corners. It looks like Monica Reza has started appearing on the dockets again when people were starting to theorize that she might have been an alien because all of a sudden her names were scrubbed from everywhere and you couldn't find any proof that she ever worked for NASA. And then all of a sudden, boom, she's back on all these dockets again. And people that have been studying this rabbit hole like I've been are kind of freaking out about that fact because there was a ton of details about her just gone and wiped slate, clean from the slate. And now it's starting to pop back up again. So we're going to see pretty soon. If you guys are big followers of Project Bluebeam, that could be what we're about to see possibly, which Project Bluebeam is the faking of an alien attack / invasion in order to make everybody kind of conform to a one world type government. This is one of the most horrifying UFO depictions from the 1500s, and it actually happened in Nuremberg, Germany. This was on the night of 1561, and I should say it started during the day. It actually started during the morning. Thousands of people reported seeing what could only be described as UFOs, things that were shaped like giant crosses in the sky. There was famous paintings made about this day. It was such a monumental thing that everybody reported seeing. Now, people like in science like to tell us it was probably just some kind of natural phenomenon, some kind of, trick of an eclipse or some kind of solar flare event. But here's the thing. Why did only that one place report it? We don't have reports of anywhere else in the world of those things happening in 1561. This was in April of 1561. Nowhere else reported it. Only Nuremberg, Germany. So if it was some kind of natural event, more of the world would have experienced, not just that one place. So here on TikTok and on Facebook, they've been trying to censor my videos. I've had 2 videos in the past week be censored, saying that it was false information or misguiding information. It is so insane on how much this stuff is trying to be censored right now. One of those stories was even picked up by Hollywood News because it went right along with something they had been reporting on. You guys have heard about all the NASA scientists going missing, right? I think we're up to 12 now. That actually made it to Fox News. When I did my original video on that, it got taken down. The very next week, we see it on Fox News. Something is going on with UFOs in the age of disclosure right now. This famous painting can be seen everywhere. 1561 is when this happened. The event was ended when a giant black object of some kind came down and the other objects disappeared. Okay? I don't know what that object is. People back then don't either. But look at this painting right here. I've put this photo up several times. I can't imagine seeing that kind of stuff. And it wasn't a localized event to that one time. It happened again just 5 years later in 1566, okay? They also made paintings of that one. And they described the event pretty much the exact same. Now, they depicted these things as battling each other, with some of them even crash into the earth in fire. And a lot of scientists, once again, they say, okay, they probably saw some kind of meteor shower and that's how they interpreted it. I don't think so. Meteor showers were a very well-known thing that have happened throughout history. And once again, if it was a meteor shower, why didn't other places around the world, or at least just even outside of that country, depict seeing it? Because they would have seen it. Meteor. Okay, a flock of geese just flew over and honked, scared the ever-living shit out of me just now. I thought, dadgummit, they came back. Okay, got to lock back in, get back into character. But I think we're about to learn about a lot about UFOs in the very near future, coming to light here, because these stories are just more and more happening, and they're starting to dig up a lot more stuff from our past and kind of talk about them a little bit more. But guys, we are down to 12, or up to 12 NASA scientists going missing. Something is going on, okay? It's not just me talking about this. Like I said earlier, I got flagged for misinformation, and the next week it was on the news. Why are they trying to censor any talk of conspiracies and UFOs so hard right now? I really do feel like something major is going to happen. One of the NASA scientists that went missing, her name was Monica Reza, she even talked about, and she has been found deceased now, she even talked about before her disappearance that in 2027, the government would not be able to hide the fact that UFOs existed anymore. What did she mean when she said that? Does that mean we are about to see some kind of major event happen in the next year or year and a half? Is there going to be some great awakening on the UFO things? Is the government just going to come out and tell us? We don't know. We don't know. Because you always have to be aware about the whole Project Bluebeam thing. Go down that rabbit hole if you want to. If you like our creepy videos, our conspiracy stuff, we have a podcast called Matt from Nomads. We'd love to see you over there. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcast. Matt, M-A-T-T, from Nomads. All right? Would love to see you all on our YouTube as well that we just started doing a few days ago. It's pretty much all of our old videos from before we actually started doing social media. So you'll see me look a lot younger in those videos. And the YouTube is actually called Nomads Animal Reserve instead of Animal Encounter.